Ash floated in the sky like snow. The air was thick, smoky, and heavy with sorrow. The alien city, once full of life, was now silent. Buildings were broken, streets cracked, lights dead, all around. There was only dust, ruins, and the echo of the past. She walked slowly, one step at a time. Her name was Liraya, and she was the last of her kind, or so she believed. Her arms were wrapped tightly around something small, not a child, but a necklace. The pendant belonged to her son Kirill, the only thing left of him. She didn't cry anymore. There were no more tears left in her eyes, only pain, only silence. Liraya moved like a ghost through the rubble. She didn't eat, didn't sleep. She searched, not knowing what she was looking for. Her body was weak, but something pushed her forward. Hope, maybe, or madness. Suddenly, her sharp ears picked up a strange sound. Engines, not the small buzz of scavenger drones. No, this was bigger, heavier. She ducked behind a fallen statue, her body low, eyes focused. A ship came down slowly through the smoky clouds, sleek, metallic, marked with a red circle, human military. Her claws tightened around the pendant. Her heart beat faster. Humans had done this. They had dropped the firebombs. They had shattered her world. The ship landed with a hiss. Dust blew in all directions. Then silence. The ramp opened. Heavy boots stepped out. One figure, tall, wearing dark armor. Helmet off, face pale, eyes gray. Liraya's lips curled into a silent snarl. She could attack. Her body was broken, but her claws were still sharp. One strike, one bite, she could take him down or die trying. Maybe that was better. But then something strange happened. The man walked forward, slowly. He stopped near a burned wall. He knelt. Picked up something smaller, child's toy. He didn't smile, didn't laugh. He looked at it for a long time, then whispered, "I'm sorry." Liraya's eyes narrowed. Was it a trick? A game? Why would a human feel sorry? The man placed the toy down with care. Then he stood up and called out, "I know you're watching," he said. Voice soft, "I'm not here to fight." Liraya didn't move. She stayed hidden, silent. He was brave or stupid, talking to the ruins like that. "I'm Captain Rhys Morgan," he said, looking around. "I fought in the war, but I didn't drop the bombs. I came back because I couldn't sleep. I needed to see what we did." Her breath caught in her throat. He came back. To feel guilt? Humans never felt guilt, did they? He reached into his pouch, pulled out a small blue chip. He set it on a rock, then backed away. "A translator," he said, "in case you want to talk." Then he turned around. Started walking back to his ship. No weapons, no scanners. Just quiet footsteps in the dust. Liraya stared at the chip. She should leave. She should run. But something in her heart whispered, "Wait." She moved forward slowly, step by step. Like a shadow, her claw reached for the chip. She touched it, felt. It warmed up. A small light blinked. Then a soft voice spoke inside her ear. Language match found. Communication enabled. She held the pendant tight. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Why did you come here?" Rhys froze. He turned his head slowly. "You can talk," he said, surprised. "You destroyed my people," she growled. "You burned our skies." Rhys didn't argue. He only nodded. "Yes," he said. "We did terrible things. I came to say sorry. Sorry won't bring back my son," she hissed. "Sorry won't rebuild our cities." "No," he said quietly. "It won't, but maybe I can help in some way." Liraya stepped out of the shadows. Her silver skin was covered in ash. Her eyes burned with pain. She looked more spirit than being. "Why should I trust you?" she asked. Rhys looked her in the eyes. "Because I'm not here with soldiers," he said. "Just me. I saw a child during the last raid. He was trying to run from the fire. I saw someone grab him before the blast hit. Liriah froze. Her claws shook. You saw a child? She whispered. A small one. With this, Rhys said, pointing at the pendant. Yes. Her voice cracked. That's my son, Kirill. Rhys took a step closer. I don't know if he's alive, he said, but if you come with me, we might find out. Liriah looked at the ruins one more time. The home she lost, the family that was gone. And then she looked at the human. The one enemy who didn't point a gun but offered a chance. Her claws trembled as she spoke. I will come, Rhys nodded. Then said softly, let's find him. And together, they walked into the ashes. One human, one broken mother. Both chasing a lost child and a sliver of hope. The ship's door closed with a soft hiss. Liriah stood inside, her sharp eyes scanning every detail. The metal walls were cold, clean, and human. It felt like stepping into the belly of the beast. Yet no weapon was pointed at her, no alarms, no angry soldiers. Captain Rhys Morgan walked ahead, calm and silent. He didn't look back often. But he stayed close, not too close, not too far, just enough to say, I won't hurt you. Liriah held her pendant tightly. Her claws gripped it like it was her only. Anchor, because in truth it was. Sit, Rhys said. Pointing to a seat in the small cockpit, she hesitated, but sat slowly. Her eyes never left him. She still didn't trust him. How could she? The engine started humming. A soft vibration passed through the floor. Liriah's body stiffened. She hated ships, especially human ones. But she stayed still. She had to know the truth. Was her son alive? Rhys typed on a screen, checking a map. We'll stop at a forward base, he said. They might have records or satellite footage. She didn't answer. Her eyes watched every movement, every blink, every breath. Was this a trick? A trap? After a moment of silence, he spoke again. I used to fight near here, he said quietly. I saw families running. I couldn't stop it. Liriah looked at him sharply. You dropped the fire from the sky. She said, no, he replied. I was a ground scout, not a bomber, but I saw what the bombs did. Her hands shook. You saw my people burn, she said coldly. He nodded. I did. She expected him to defend himself, to say it was war, to say it was orders, but he didn't. He just said one thing. It was wrong. That surprised. Her humans didn't admit mistakes. Not often. Not to aliens. Not to the defeated. The ship moved smoothly through the clouds. Outside, the world was gray and ruined, but above, the sky was clear. And stars blinked far away. After some time, Rhys offered her a ration bar. Liriah looked at it like it was poison. I won't eat your food, she said. I didn't poison it, he replied, placing it on the table. If you don't want it, that's fine. She didn't take it right away, but her stomach growled. And after Rhys left the room, she ate it slowly. It was dry, salty, but warm. And it filled the emptiness inside just a little. Later, Rhys returned with a small device. A screen blinked on, showing an image. He placed it between them. This is from a drone, 10 days ago. He said, captured near the trade zone. The image showed a young alien child. Silver skin, long ears, dark eyes, full of fear. Liriah's breath caught. Her claws pressed into her palm. That's him, she whispered. That's Kirill. Rhys leaned back. He was running with other children, looked scared. They were picked up by a scavenger crew, taken off-world. Liriah's heart slammed in her chest. Alive. She said, her voice cracking. My son is alive. We don't know for sure. Rhys said carefully, could be another child. But it matches your description. Liriah stood, her eyes blazing. Where did they take him? We think they went toward the outer moons, he said. Smugglers, trade war orphans. Sell them to colonies, slavery, she hissed. He nodded. Sadly, yes, I will go, she said at once. I will find my son. Reese looked at her, serious and calm. It won't be easy, he said. They don't trust humans either. Let me help you. Lyria paused. You helped destroy my people, she said, and now you want to help me save my son? I want to make something right, he said. If that means helping you, then yes. She stared at him for a long time, searching his face, looking for lies, but all she saw was pain and truth. Why? She asked again. Why do you care? Reese took a breath. I had a daughter once, he said. She died during a mission I couldn't stop. I wasn't there for her. Maybe helping you is my way of saying sorry to her. Lyria felt a strange ache in her chest. Not sympathy, just understanding. Pain recognized pain, and sorrow knew its twin. Very well, she said. We find the smugglers. We find my son. Reese nodded. We leave in the morning. Get some rest. Lyria turned away. Walking to the corner of the room, she didn't sleep much. But for the first time in many cycles, she closed her eyes, not in fear, but in hope, and somewhere deep in the state. Stars, a boy named Kirill, stared up from a cage, holding a broken necklace that matched the one his mother kept, waiting for someone, anyone, to come. The next morning, the ship moved quietly through the dark skies. Lyria sat near the window, eyes fixed on the stars. Each one reminded her of a memory, of her world before the war, of her mate's laughter, her child's voice, of the garden, where Kirill used to play with his glowing ball. Now, only silence remained. Her claws gently rubbed the pendant, her fingers trembling as they remembered the way it once rested on her son's small chest. Captain Reese sat across the room, typing into the console. He didn't speak much. He respected her silence. He understood loss in a way most humans didn't. We'll reach the old colony ruins in a few hours. He said that's where the scavengers made their last stop. Lyria nodded slowly. Did you ever see children suffer? She asked suddenly. Reese looked up, surprised by her question. Yes, he said after a pause. I've seen things I wish I could forget. I see them too, she whispered, in dreams, in shadows. My son crying, reaching for me. I wasn't there. Reese leaned forward, was gentle. You're here now, and you're fighting to find him. She looked away. But her silence spoke volumes. There were no perfect words, only the journey forward as the ship flew over a cracked moon. Reese pointed. There, he said, an old research colony. Humans left it decades ago. Now scavengers use it as a stop before heading deeper into the fringe. The ship landed softly, dust lifted, and the old buildings stood like broken bones under the pale sky. Metal walls covered in rust, wires hanging loose, a place long forgotten by most, but not by pain. They stepped outside, the air thin but breathable. Lyria's senses sharpened, her ears twitching. This place remembers. She said, I can feel it. Reese scanned the ground with a device. Radiation is low, no recent power use, but movement footsteps, not older than 2 days. Lyria walked ahead, her claws scraping over old ground. Then she stopped in front of a small stone near the wall. She knelt, picked it up, and turned it over. Underneath was a drawing set into the floor, a small creature, long-eared, round eyes. A child's sketch, done in fear and silence. This is his style, she whispered. Kirill always carved things when nervous. This is his. Reese came closer, nodding slowly. He was here. They followed the trail, past broken doors and dark halls. Lyria touched the walls with her fingertips. They were cold. But under the metal, she felt echoes of voices, of cries. In a small chamber, they found more signs. A torn cloth, alien in design. A toy carved from scrap, metal shaped like a flying beast. Lyria gasped. This was his favorite animal. She dropped to her knees. Her chest tight. He left these, she said, her voice breaking. He was trying to leave a path. Reese crouched beside her. He's smart, he said softly. Just like his mother. She looked at him, eyes full of pain and thanks. But before she could speak, the scanner beeped loudly. Reese checked it quickly, his eyes narrowing. Motion, coming this way? They both stood. Alert, Lariah pulled. Out a small blade, curved and ancient, Reese raised his pulse pistol. Hide, he said. She nodded and moved to the shadows. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Rough boots, low voices, then two aliens appeared. Rough-looking scavengers with heavy bags. One held a shock staff. The other carried crates. I told you we should have left last night. One muttered, Boss said wait. So we wait, the other grumbled. Stupid human soldiers scanning the skies again. Lariah's claws gripped tighter. She recognized their species Akri, traitors. Known for selling younglings, Reese stepped forward, calm but firm. Hey, he said. Both aliens froze. One raised his weapon. Who the hell are you? Someone asking questions, Reese replied. I'm looking for a child you picked up 10 days ago. No kids here. The taller one said quickly. You sure? Reese asked. Voice steady, because I've got scans and pictures that say otherwise. Lariah stepped out of the shadows, eyes glowing. The aliens flinched. One dropped his bag. She walked toward them like a storm. My son, she growled. Where is he? We sold him, the short one stammered. Last shipment, off-world transport, gone 2 days ago. Where? She barked to the red moon, the alien replied. Shaking, big auction, lots of buyers. We just moved the goods, Lariah's. Heart dropped, an auction. She whispered, you sold him like cargo. The taller alien raised his weapon. Reese fired first, stunning him. The other ran, but Lariah was faster. She tackled him, claws at his throat. Who bought him? She demanded. I don't know, he begged. Please, don't kill me, I just carry things. She released him, disgusted. Reese stepped closer. Red Moon, he said. We'll go there next. They returned to the ship, carrying only what mattered: hope and direction. Lariah sat down, shaking slightly. I'm close, she whispered. I can feel it. Reese nodded. We'll find him, he said. Whatever it takes. And as the ship lifted into the sky, far away on a blood-colored moon, a boy named Kirill sat in a dark cage. He held his pendant, whispering stories his mother once told. Stories about stars, and love, and home. The ship touched down on a dusty landing pad. The red moon was a strange place, half market, half criminal zone. Bright lights flashed in the streets. Loud voices echoed from every corner. Aliens of all kinds walked fast, traded, yelled, or disappeared into shadows. Lariah stood at the edge of the ramp, staring with cold eyes. Her claws twitched slightly. Reese stood beside her, his weapon hidden under his coat. This place is dangerous. He said, stay close. I will not leave without my son, she replied. Her voice was sharp and clear. Reese nodded. Let's find the auction. They walked through the crowded streets. Everything smelled like oil, metal, and sweat. Small stalls sold food, weapons, and strange items wrapped in cloth. No one cared who you were, only what you had to trade. Lariah's eyes scanned every face, every child, every sound that could lead her to Kirill. But it was like searching for a single spark in a field of fire. They reached a large building guarded by 2 reptilian brutes. A glowing sign above read in 3 languages: auction entry, no weapons. No fighting, no refunds. Reese read aloud. Sounds like a warm welcome. They walked in, silent, inside. The air was cold and smelled like fear. A long hallway led. 2 rows of cages. Some were empty, others filled with aliens, young, old, weak, or silent. Lyraya froze as she saw a child with silver skin. She rushed forward, her heart racing, but it wasn't Kirill. The child looked up in fear and backed away. Lyraya stepped back, her breath shaking. Rhys placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll find him," he said. "Keep moving." In the center of the room was a stage. Buyers sat in rows, covered in cloaks and greed. The auctioneer, a three-eyed alien, stood with a grin. "Next up," he announced, "a rare species, strong blood." Young and obedient, a cage was rolled in. Inside was a small alien boy. He was quiet, sitting with his back to the crowd. Lyraya's claws dug into her palm. "That's him," she whispered. "That's Kirill." Rhys pulled her back. "Wait," he said. "If we attack now, they'll kill everyone, including him." "But no," he said firmly. "We need a plan." They moved to the side. Watching the bidders raise digital chips, the price kept rising. Lyraya's heart pounded like thunder. Someone was going to take her son away again. "Can we bid?" she asked. Rhys shook his head. "I don't have enough credits, but I know someone who might help." He tapped his comlink. A few minutes later, a voice answered. "Rhys." "Yeah, it's me," he said. "I need a favor, big one, Lyraya." Listened, tense and silent. Rhys spoke fast, gave details. After a pause, the voice replied, "You owe me for this." Rhys smiled. "I know." A few moments later, a loud alarm rang across the building. Everyone stopped. The lights blinked red. "Security breach," a voice shouted. "Docking Area 3, guards rushed out." Buyers turned in panic. In the chaos, Rhys grabbed Lyraya's hand. "Now," he said. They ran toward the stage. The auctioneer was yelling. The cage stood alone, unattended. Lyraya jumped up, claws snapping the lock. The door flew open. Kirill turned eyes wide with fear. He didn't recognize her at first. But she knelt and whispered, "It's me." He stared at her pendant. Then at his own still hanging from his neck. His lips trembled. "Mama." Tears filled her eyes. "Yes, my love," she said. "I'm here." He leaped into her arms. She held him tight, as if the world could end again, and this time she wouldn't let go. Rhys covered them as guards returned. He fired at the ceiling, creating smoke and confusion. "This way," he shouted. They ran through the side halls, dodging shouts, weapons, and blinking lights. They reached the ship, panting. Kirill clung to his mother. Rhys hit the launch button. Engines roared. And they blasted off into the sky, inside the ship. Everything was silent for a while. Only the sound of Kirill's breathing and Lyraya's quiet tears. "You came," the boy whispered. "I thought you were gone. I would search every star." "For you," she said softly. "Never doubt that." Rhys walked in. Sitting on the floor across from them, "You did good, soldier," he said to Kirill with a smile. The boy tilted his head, confused. "I'm not a soldier." Rhys smiled again. "Not yet." Lyraya looked at Rhys, her voice calm but strong. "You risked your life for him. For us?" Rhys shrugged. "You needed help, and I had a debt to pay." She nodded slowly. "I don't trust humans," she said. "But I trust you," he nodded back, "and I trust you." They sat in silence. One human, one alien mother, one child saved from darkness. The stars outside moved slowly, but inside the ship, something had changed. This wasn't just a rescue, it was the beginning of something new, something between two worlds. A bond formed in fire and pain, but built on something stronger than war. Hope. Kirill sat between his mother and the human, silent but alert. His small hands held tightly onto his pendant. Lyraya gently brushed his hair. Her fingers trembling. For cycles, she had dreamed of this moment, and now her son was finally in her arms again, but something was different. His eyes, once full of laughter, now looked tired and unsure. His smile was faint. Almost afraid, she could feel the distance between them. "You're safe now," she whispered. "No one will hurt you." Again, Kirill looked at her and gave a small nod, but he didn't call her mama again, not yet. Reese watched quietly from the cockpit. He knew this kind of damage didn't heal in a day. "You both need time," he said softly. Leraya nodded. "I will give him all the time he needs." The ship moved through space, leaving the red moon behind, but danger wasn't far on the monitor. A red light blinked, tracking beacon detected. "We've got company," Reese said, turning serious. Someone planted a tracker on the hull. Laria's claws flexed. "They want him back," she growled. "Not happening," Reese said. "But we can't outrun them forever." He typed quickly into the ship's computer. "There's one place nearby," he said. "A hidden moon, called Veltrax 9. Smugglers used to hide there. It's full of caves and shadow fields, perfect to lose a signal." Leraya narrowed her eyes. "Then we go." As they approached Veltrax 9, the moon came into view, dark, rocky, and full of craters. Lightning flashed across the surface. Storms danced above jagged cliffs and black mountains. The ship entered, the atmosphere shaking from turbulence. Kirill held Laraya's hand tightly. "It's okay," she said. "We're together." Reese landed the ship deep inside a canyon. Rocks surrounded them like walls. "This place blocks all signals," he said. "But we won't be alone." They stepped out into the cold wind. Leraya kept Kirill close. Her eyes scanned the shadows. She could feel they were being watched. From the darkness, a figure stepped forward. A tall alien with metal arms and glowing eyes. Reese Morgan. The figure said, voice robotic, "I didn't think I'd see you again. Hello, Savax." Reese replied, still hiding in the rocks. Savax chuckled, still running from trouble. Reese smiled, always. Leraya stepped forward, her voice strong. "We need help," she said. "We're being hunted." Savax looked at Kirill, then back at her. "I don't take children," he said coldly. "He's not for trade," Reese said firmly. "He's family." Savax raised a brow. "Since when do humans care about alien family?" Reese didn't answer, but his silence said more than words could. Savax finally nodded. "Follow me." They entered a hidden tunnel behind the rocks. Inside was a small base, dark, dusty, but safe. Lights flickered and old machines hummed. It wasn't much, but it was shelter. Leraya sat with Kirill near the fire. He looked around nervously. "Is this our new home?" he asked. She shook her head. "This is just a place to rest." Reese walked over with a datapad. "I contacted an old friend," he said. "She might be able to clear your son's records." "What records?" Leraya asked. Reese sighed. "Some buyers reported him as missing cargo." "Which means bounty hunters will keep looking." Leraya's eyes burned with rage. "He is not cargo. He is my child." "I know," Reese said. "But in the black markets, law and life mean nothing. We need to give him a new ID. A clean name." Kirill looked down, confused. "I don't want a new name," he whispered. "I want to be Kirill." Leraya held him close. "You will always be Kirill," she said. "No one can take that from you." That night, the base stayed quiet. Outside, wind howled across the cliffs. Inside, Kirill finally fell asleep in his mother's arms. Reese sat alone near the entrance. Savax came over, holding 2 metal cups. "Here," he said, still like bitter root tea. Reese smiled and took the cup. "Thanks, you're risking a lot," Savax said, helping them. Reese stared into the fire. "She reminds me of someone," he said. "My wife." Savax didn't reply. He just nodded slowly. "You've changed, maybe," Reese said. "Maybe I just woke up in the morning." A warning alarm echoed through the base. Savax checked the scanners. "Ships approaching," he said. 3 of them small, fast, armed, bounty hunters. Reese muttered, "They followed us here. Leraya stood up, her claws ready. I will not lose him again. Reese grabbed his weapon. Then let's make sure you don't Savax activated defense shields. Take the back tunnel, he said. I'll slow them down, you'll be killed. Reese said. Savax smiled. I've lived long enough. They ran through the tunnel, Kirill in Leraya's arms, Reese covering them from behind. Explosions rocked the base as enemy fire hit the walls. The ground shook, but they didn't stop. They reached the far side of the moon, a hidden hangar with a small escape ship. Reese opened the hatch. Go, he said. I'll hold them off. No, Leraya said. We go together. Kirill looked up at Reese. Please don't leave us. Reese hesitated, then nodded. They jumped into the ship. Engines roared as they blasted into the sky. Below, the base collapsed under fire. But they were safe. For now, Leraya held Kirill tight. He looked at her and whispered, I remember now. You've told me stories about the stars. She smiled with tears in her eyes. And now we're flying through them together. Reese sat at the controls, focused, but inside. He felt something powerful. Not duty, not guilt, family. The escape ship flew quietly through the stars. Inside, it was warm and calm. But the silence was heavy. Leraya sat beside her son, her arms wrapped around him. Kirill leaned against her. But his eyes stared at the floor. He didn't speak much. Reese glanced back from the pilot seat. They had escaped the bounty hunters for now. But he knew this wasn't the end. He could still feel the weight in the boy's heart. Leraya gently brushed Kirill's hair. My son, she whispered, you are safe. But Kirill didn't answer. He only held the broken pendant in his hand, the same one his mother wore around her neck. After some time, Reese brought them water and food. Kirill took it without a word. He ate slowly. Like someone who had forgotten what hunger was, he hardly speaks. Leraya said softly. Reese nodded. Many rescued children are like this, he said. They forget how to talk, how to trust Leraya. Looked down, pain in her eyes. I missed so much, she whispered. I should have been there. You're here now, Reese said, and that's what matters. Later, while Kirill slept, Leraya and Reese sat near the engine room. The soft hum of the ship filled the silence. Do you have children? Leraya asked. I did, Reese said, his voice low. My daughter, Myra, died in a shuttle crash. Leraya placed her hand over her heart. I'm sorry. She was small, full of fire, always asking questions, he said with a faint smile. When I lost her, I didn't think I'd ever feel whole again. And now? Reese looked toward Kirill. I see a second chance. The next morning, Kirill woke early. He walked around the ship, touching the walls. Watching the stars through the windows, Leraya followed him quietly. He turned to her and asked, Is this really our ship? Yes, she said with a soft smile. For now, it's home. I used to sleep in a cage, he said. They gave me a 7-2. Leraya's claws curled slowly. You're not a number, she said firmly. You are Kirill, but they never called me that. He whispered. They said I had no name. She knelt in front of him, her voice trembling. Your name is Kirill, she said. I gave it to you the day you were born. It means light in the dark. Kirill looked into her eyes. Something stirred inside him, a small flicker of memory. A voice singing softly, a warm embrace. I remember your voice, he said slowly. You used to sing when I was scared? Leraya's eyes filled with tears. Yes, she whispered. I still remember the song. She sang softly, a melody from her world. Kirill closed his eyes. Leaning against her, Reese watched from the doorway, saying nothing. But inside, he felt something shift, a healing moment. A broken piece beginning to fit again. Later that day, Reese brought news. I contacted a human diplomat, he said. She can help us reach Earth. Earth? Leraya asked. Why there? Because it's the one place where I can protect both of you. He said, they won't follow you into Alliance territory. Lariah looked at Kirill, who was now playing quietly with a small tool. If Earth will keep him safe, then I will. Go, she said. But getting to Earth was not easy. They had to pass through guarded checkpoints. Reese used old codes and back channels. He lied, bribed, and risked everything to keep them moving. At one station, a human officer scanned their IDs. This child, he said, pointing at Kirill. There's a bounty on him. Reese stepped forward quickly. He was taken illegally, he said. He is under my protection now. The officer looked uncertain. Lariah stepped forward, eyes blazing. I am his mother, she said. If you touch him, you will have to go through me. The officer paused, then looked at Reese again. I hope you know what you're doing, he said. I do, Reese replied. They moved on, finally entering Alliance space. A message came through clearance granted for landing on Earth. As the ship descended into Earth's atmosphere, Kirill pressed his face against the glass. So many lights, he said. It's beautiful. Lariah held his hand. Yes, she said. It's a new beginning. They landed on a quiet base near the ocean. The air was fresh, the sky blue. Reese led them out. Waiting nearby was a woman in a white coat. She smiled kindly. Welcome, she said. You're safe here. Kirill looked up at the Earth sky and whispered, Can I be Kirill again? Lariah knelt beside him. You never stopped. Reese smiled. You're not just a number, he said. You're a name, a soul, a survivor, and for the first time since the war began, Kirill smiled back. The human base near the ocean was quiet and peaceful. Birds flew in the sky. Waves touched the shore. It was a place far away from war and pain, but inside the buildings, not everything was calm. Lariah stood in front of a tall human officer. Her hands were behind her back, her head held high. Kirill stood beside her, holding her hand. Reese was next to them, silent but firm. The officer looked at a screen, frowning. This child, he said. He is listed as stolen property by 3 Outer World traders. He is no one's property, Lariah said sharply. He is my son. Do you have proof? The officer asked. Lariah held out the pendant. It matches the one he wore when he was taken, she said. Our people give them to our younglings after their naming. The officer leaned back. And what about you, Captain Reese? You broke 3 Alliance codes by helping them. I followed a higher code, Reese replied. I followed my conscience. There was silence in the room. Kirill looked up, nervous and small. He didn't understand everything, but he could feel the tension. The officer sighed. This case has gone to a public hearing, he said. You must prove your connection to the boy and prove that he is no longer claimed by the black market. When is the hearing? Lariah asked. Tomorrow, the officer replied. You'll have one chance, that night. Lariah sat on the edge of her bed. Kirill lay next to her, fast asleep, but she could not rest. Her mind was full of fear. What if they didn't believe her? What if they took him again? She had crossed galaxies to find him. She would not lose him now. Reese stood by the window, looking at the stars. You should rest, he said. I can't, Lariah whispered. What if they take him from me? They won't, Reese said, walking over. Not if I can help it. She looked at him, tired and afraid. Thank you, she said, for everything. He gave a small smile. I told you, he said. This is about more than just a mission. The next day, the hearing room was full. Humans, aliens, and Alliance officials sat in rows. At the front was a long table where Lariah, Reese, and Kirill sat. Across from them were 2 traders who claimed to have legal rights to the child. The lead speaker, a human woman, called the room to silence. Let this be fair, she said. Let truth decide. The first trader stood. We purchased the boy legally at a station, he said. He was sold to us by licensed smugglers. Smugglers are not legal sources. Reese said, selling children is illegal across all civilized worlds, but he had no name, no records, the traitor argued. He was just another orphan. Lyria stood, her voice calm but strong. He had a name, she said. Kirill, my son. He was taken during a raid while our city burned. She walked to the center of the room and showed both pendants. They matched, she said. They were made by the same hands. Then she held up a small memory chip. This, she said, is my last recorded image of him before the war. The image showed a young Kirill playing with the same pendant. The room went quiet. Kirill stood up slowly. He walked to the front, holding his mother's hand. I didn't remember her at first, he said softly, but I do now, she sang to me. He looked at the officials. She's my mother. The silence grew deep. Then the lead speaker spoke. We've seen enough, she said. The child is no longer in question. She looked at Lyria. He stays with you. Kirill ran into his mother's arms. She held him tightly. Tears rolling down her face, Reese smiled, leaning back in his chair. They had one. After the hearing, Lyria walked out into the sunlight. Kirill ran ahead, laughing for the first time. In cycles, she turned to Reese. We're free, she whispered. Truly free. Reese nodded. What will you do now? He asked. She looked toward the ocean. I don't know, she said, but we will stay here for a while. Kirill needs peace, and I want to learn about this world. Reese hesitated, then said, I've been offered a position to train young cadets here. I was going to say no, but maybe I'll stay. Lyria smiled. Then stay. She said, we've both lost enough. That night, they had dinner under the stars. Kirill sat between them, eating happily. He told stories about the stars, about flying ships and hidden moons. Lyria listened, her heart warm. Reese laughed softly, feeling something he hadn't felt in years, belonging. Later, as the moon rose, Hi Kirill looked up at the stars and said, Do you think Papa can see us from up there? Lyria smiled gently. Yes, she said, and I think he's proud. Reese placed a hand on Kirill's shoulder. And I think he's happy you're safe. And as the wind whispered through the trees and the stars blinked above, a new family sat together, not by blood, but by choice, by love, and by the bond that war could not break.